Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Today we're taking a look at a knife made by Böker, and this is one made in Solingen, Germany. Now this was a gift from a subscriber, but they've asked to remain anonymous, so thank you very much for sending this in. It's absolutely fantastic and I love it. I thought we'd just do a quick look around the knife, a couple of specs, just a standard sort of review really. It comes in the Böker box, this sort of simple cardboard black box. You've got, of course, the chestnut tree there. You've got Böker Solingen. You have their address on the side here, and you can see made in Solingen, Germany. This one must have been originally picked up at Heine Haynes, as I know that's their logo, and you can see it's the Böker Barlow Maroon with the polished blade. And again, their contact information on this side as well. Inside the box, it comes wrapped in this sort of wax paper and the standard sort of leaflets and booklets, that sort of stuff. But let's take a look at the knife. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. Look at that. Already got dirt all over it because I've been using it this morning. But we have maroon integral bolsters and liners. So by that, I mean the bolsters and liners are all one part. It's quite hard to see, but you can just see the break here where the bolster is. And then that inside liner there is maroon micarta as well, which is all part of excuse me, part of the same bit of the knife. And then we have these wonderful sort of black, so it's between sort of canvas and burlap really, the way that weave is. It's not quite burlap, but it's a bit more than canvas, but it feels phenomenal in the hand, this thing. You've got no problem with this being slick or anything like that. It's very grippy. Now, of course, with it being Böker Solingen, we all know their fit and finish. It's flawless. I've never had an issue with any of the knives that they've made, or any of the Böker knives I've picked up, and this one is no exception. Back spring is tight all the way down. There is not a single gap. Hafting is absolutely perfect. You're not going to feel anything on this at all. Even the back of this tang here is nicely rounded over, so you're not going to catch yourself on it. Nothing sharp at all. Pins all extremely flush, and the transition between the bolster and the covers, you don't feel it, put it that way. It's just too nice. But you can see we have nickel silver pins holding this together, and I do like how they've just gone with the nickel silver and left them exposed. I love when you can see these on traditional knives. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Nothing against the ones that when they use nickel silver bolster and put a nickel silver pin and they brush it off. I mean, that's normal, that's just what it's going to be, but I love the exposed pins on knives. I think it looks fantastic. But it is a single-bladed Barlow, and of course it being a Böker Barlow, it is quite slender. They sort of modelled their design, I believe, on an old Worstenholm Barlow pattern. You can see the blade centering is absolutely slap back down, bang down the middle. And the action with this long pull, about a 6.5 into the half stop. Yeah, and about a 6.5 on the full open as well. But very snappy action. Just listen to that snap. Absolutely beautiful. But we have this very nice pointy clip point blade. No swedging on this one at all. Just a very nice long pull, and it's nice to see those. Now, just watched Thrifty Kniffy's video on the Rough Rider Reserve Congress, and he mentioned it as well. It's so nice and refreshing seeing a long pull on a knife rather than the Crescent Moon nail nick. There's something about this. I wish more companies would bring it back. We used to see it a hell of a lot in the 90s and 80s, and it sort of went away for that Crescent Moon matte strike pulls and that, but there's nothing more attractive than me on a knife than having a long pull. I just think it's beautiful. But we have the Böker Solingen tang stamp. You can see the chestnut tree there as well. And the steel designation as well on the front of 01, which is a tool steel. On the back, nothing at all. Edge grind on this is absolutely fantastic. Pretty sort of even all the way around. Tad heavy at the tip, but that's nothing out of the ordinary for knives, especially when the tip of the knife isn't super thin. It's quite chunky towards the tip. I mean, it doesn't really taper down too much because there's no swedge, so it's going to be a very nice working blade. Let's take a look at some specs. So this Böker Barlow is a little bit smaller really than what you would get from someone from Arthur Wright and Sons or Taylor's Eyewitness or any of the British brands. So it's 3¼ inches closed. So it is a little on the smaller side, but I mean, you could even have this as a 5th pocket Barlow if you wanted to. But for me, I'm more than capable of getting a full 4-finger grip on this. Some people with larger hands maybe get a 3 and have it tucked on the end. But for me, if I go up to that ricasso, I've got no problem. I could use this knife hard use all day and not have an issue with the size. The blade length on this one then, full blade length is just a hair over 2.5, and then a cutting edge of 2¼ So again, not going to have any issues with that in the UK at all. Very friendly. It's going to be friendly most places around the world. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be every place. A lot of countries don't allow you to carry knives at all. Some will have regulations on blade length different to the UK, but for us, this is a green zone knife all day long. It's a slip joint. The blade length is under 3. And honestly, does that look threatening to you, or does that look more like a tool? For me, it's just a beautiful tool, and I really appreciate the gift. So thank you very much for sending it over. I'm going to get a lot of good use out of this for years to come. It's going to be one of my gentleman carries. So if I go to an event or a function, because you've got that classy black and maroon covers, and then you have that 01 carbon steel blade, which is absolutely beautiful. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned that they sort of took their design from a Solingen Barlow. I just thought I'd grab that and we'll have a look at a comparison. So this is one of the original George Solingen Barlows. Now you can see the familiarity in the shape between these two. Now, Solingen Barlows of late have gone more towards a flattened, squared off design, whereas the original ones were more traditional Barlow looking knives. But if you compare the two, I mean, the Solingen is maybe a hair bigger, but the bolster size is pretty similar. Thickness is pretty similar, albeit this one is more using more modern materials, whereas if you have a more traditional one with a nickel silver bolsters and bone, for example, it would be very similar in weight as well. Even the blade shape is very similar on these as well. So you have the Solingen here at the top, and then the Böker. You can see the comparison between those two blades, where they took the sort of shape from. Of course, this one is sharpened down, so it would have been more like the one below. But overall, it's absolutely flawless. Even the sort of pin location is pretty similar, really. You can see it's down towards this corner, same as it is here. Slap bang in the middle, and then in the middle at the back. But yeah, absolutely beautiful Barlow from Böker. This is going to be a solid one in my collection for a long time to come. But I really hope you enjoyed the review. This again is the Böker Barlow in the maroon polished 01 tool steel, and the model number for that is 100401. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.